Hey everyone. Some of you have been listening to us for well over a year now, but can you tell with absolute certainty that we are real people? What if we told you that we're not? And there is absolutely no way of telling because of this technology that we have in recent days that is now being told as deepfake. It's a very clever and interesting technology where you mimic or create content like video, audio, or images of real or imaginary people that looks or sounds exactly like another person. So, interestingly, we could be imaginary, unreal people that you probably wouldn't have known. To assure you guys, we are real people, although I don't know you would believe us now. But that's the interesting side of deepfake, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, welcome everyone to our episode of our podcast Tech Talk, and this week we're going to talk about deepfake, a technology based on artificial intelligence, and recently is being talked about a lot due to its security concerns and also potential good and bad use controversially. So deepfake. Amit, what do you think of deepfake? What is it, or what's your thought on it?
So thanks again for that good introduction, Rinat. I think it's you sent the audience to a roller coaster for a second, making them question what they're listening and what they're watching. Is it actually real? And the funny thing is that it's actually difficult to tell because the video is 2D and the audio you can easily fake. So there are now technology where you can have pre-recorded voice go through it, and then you have words, and then you can fake someone's voice. And similarly, over a 2D image, it's much more easy than a 3D uh, image of a person. So deep fake is very, very interesting, and the reason I wanted to talk to you about it today is because of the way artificial intelligence has improved and the way the graphics cards and the computing power has improved in the last decade or so, that has enabled this technology to be now almost everywhere around us, and we don't even realize sometimes because we follow lot of people on social media and we don't know what's real and what's fake. And that's the job for, say, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram to do. But somehow sometimes they also can't do their jobs properly, and that's why we as human beings have to be alert as to, okay, what is real, what is fake. Can we actually verify something that we are reading or watching or just viewing, and see and tell whether it's real or not through multiple sources? Because it's very easy to read something or find something online and then just quickly share it with people, and that's how you share misinformation very rapidly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nowadays in digital age, sharing is so quick and easy that it's actually a breeding ground for misinformation, and it's difficult to always keep track of what information. And also because there's so many information, it's usually much easier to create or spread misinformation rather than refuting it and identifying which is and which isn't. As a result, we see a lot more misinformation nowadays in digital space than before. Because before, publishing a book or something was a lot more difficult. So if someone wanted to spread misinformation, they had to print, they had to publish, they had to spread the paper copies, which was a lot more difficult. Nowadays, it's much easier to spread anything, and then much more difficult to prove something is wrong. For example, the flat earthers, they can
Yes.
create content and spread like wildfire, but people who want to refute that with actual logical explanation, each of their arguments, they would have to spend a lot more time to actually explain, create that content, and then put it out in the internet. And that's why deepfake could be, very easily used to do this kind of negative. It could be used negatively in a way that, to going back to what you were saying, that influencers and celebrities, we do take their words with a lot more trust.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but we do. And then if it's faked, say whoever your celebrity is, you're thinking that you might be thinking that, oh, the usual celebrities, the Kardashian families, I don't really follow them or I don't believe them. But there are celebrities that you do actually trust. For example, if you're not a fan of that arena of influencers, you might be a fan of Stephen Hawking or Neil deGrasse Tyson
Yeah.
or any other,
Elon Musk, Bill Gates,
or
Yuval
the
Harari. Yeah.
Hank Green or the Green Brothers, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you definitely do have different kind of celebrities or influencers that you trust, and if someone like if that kind of influencer was to say something, even if it is not easily believable, you would still give it a second thought. And that's how deepfake can make it even worse to spread misinformation, because it's so much easier now to fake the identities of these people in actual audio and visual content. So yeah, that's quite a dangerous, but it does also have some positive use. I'm sure. What are some of the uses of deepfake, Amit?
So, before we delve into the positive bits, I think we also need to clarify what deepfake actually stands for. So, fake, people understand, if something is not real, it's fake. So, it's just the opposite of real. And deep comes from deep learning. So, in one of our previous episodes, we have talked about artificial intelligence, and deep learning is one way for computers to learn about their environment, the system, and then make predictions, and then or do certain tasks based on what they have learned. Um, so deep learning is basically used to create fake images or videos. And how do you do it? The way to do it is to put, say, the image of Donald Trump over Vladimir Putin, very two powerful celebrities who are poles apart, and they have very extremist views. And suppose you put the face of Donald Trump on Vladimir Putin, or vice versa, what can happen? You can you can create a frenzy among their followers, right? And in order to achieve this, you first need to analyze a lot of photos of Donald Trump and a lot of photos of a lot of videos of Vladimir
Which
Putin,
are easily available online
which are
because
easily
they're
available on YouTube or Vimeo and many other news channels. Once you do all that, so for that you need a powerful computer. You can't do it on a simple laptop. So you'll need to do a lot of analysis, a lot of learning, and then you try to see what are the common features. You try to compress everything, and then you try to superimpose. That's where the magic happens. So you might have seen a deep fake video without you realizing it. And what we'll do is we'll share it as part of this podcast in our description, and you can then have a look as to what a real video is and what a deep fake video is. So that gives you an idea. So that's a deep fake video. So it requires a lot of computing. Now imagine I want to start a war. So I live in the UK and I want to start a war with, say, Germany. Just saying, it's we are not going back to World War days, but I'm just saying that I want to start a war with Germany. Okay. Now, in order for me to do that, I need to show some images, satellite images of Germans or English army moving their soldiers or their uh, aircrafts or ships closer to each other's borders. Now, using satellite imagery, you can easily see this, say Google Earth or whatever. And each country has their own satellite imaging technology. Now, what if you create a fake image and you show that, okay, UK soldiers are right outside the border of Germany, and you start circulating this on social media. Imagine how much panic will that create? That simple image, and because it's fake, and because it looks very real, it's very difficult to tell whether something is actually happening or not. So then you have to go through different media sources. So that's what you said. It's more difficult to prove something is right than to prove that something is wrong. And that's where the power of deepfake comes. Because it's so difficult to prove something is wrong, it gets easily passed on. And now you create a war-like situation on Facebook when nothing has actually happened, no armies have moved, everyone is in a peace, but on Facebook, you have now shared an image that creates a frenzy. And now it's Facebook's job to identify such images using AI, again, using artificial intelligence to see what's real and what's not real, and then based on that, remove those images and classify them as misinformation or abuse or something else. So yeah, that's deepfake. That's one aspect of a negative aspect of deepfake. Now, when we talk about positive aspect, which you asked, which I'll answer now, is suppose a person dies, I die. 20 years down the line, you need my voice to power a video. Say I'm a very famous actor or I'm a very famous podcaster, and you need my voice on a podcast, but I'm dead. So you create a script, and the script can be voiced using my voice, and that's basically cloning, voice cloning. So you hear through repeated numbers of audio files which I have recorded, uploaded on YouTube, uploaded on Spotify and various other podcast platforms, and from there you create a voice spectrum, and using that voice spectrum you generate my voice. This has actually happened in some of the films. A dead actor has been brought back to life. It's not deep fake, but it is almost the same technology. How do you create an actor, bring them back to the film, even when they are not alive, or put their face on their body double and use their voice from their previous films, and then create this whole illusion that there is a person who is still alive.
The first thing that pops into my head is there were a few unfinished songs of Michael Jackson, and I don't know if it's possible to recreate those or complete those with using this technology. But then again, as long as you declare what you're doing in technology, I suppose that's usually a good thing. But if you don't declare it,
So if you declare,
the
then it's
same
not
thing
fake
could be,
anymore
yeah,
because you have
it's
declared it. But if you
yeah.
don't declare and it's passed on as real, then you know that okay, you pass something fake which is not real as real. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's when the controversy comes in. But again, while listening to you, I thought of another a sort of positive aspect or positive use of deepfake is people with disability, like people who has lost their voice for various reasons. They could create audiovisual content and have their previous voice voice samples to create a new voice sample. And this is obviously, if you're recreating a dead person's persona, that could still be ethically controversial, whether that person would have wanted it or not. But in real life scenario, the person who is the owner of that voice could be helped. Any kind of disability, not obviously not any kind of disability, any kind of disability that affects the voice or the visual side of the person, they could improve their appearance in social media or in the internet altogether by using deepfake. So there are various positive views. I'm sure the audience would be able to think about many other positive ones. But this is one of those technology where as soon as you know what it is, the first things that pop up in your head are the negative uses, because yeah, it can
Because it has
be.
the word fake in it, right? And fake means scam, fake means not real, fake means treachery, fake means getting you ripped off. So yeah, that's why I think it creates that image where, okay, deep fake, it's something that's not real, something that can create controversy, something that can cause harm, something that's used to spread misinformation. So yeah, that's those are the kind of things that you think about when you think about deep fake.
Yeah, and another very controversial negative views is, and what I've heard is that the majority of all the deep fakes available on the internet now are in pornographic usage.
Yes.
So a lot of the times, what is happening is a celebrity's face is being used on a porn actor's body, and then they're recreating those images without the consent of the person's face that's being used. I mean, obviously, if it's all consensual, then
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean, I don't think that people would give consent to those things because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
something
absolutely.
that no celebrity would do. But yeah, that's something that is very popular. Unfortunately, a lot of celebrities are, I mean, their reputation are put to test using these technologies, which are not good. It's not the right thing to do. It's not ethical, but because the technology is so easily available and because people can so easily get away with it, and there are still no regulations, and that's why there's a lot of pressure on social media platforms to identify deep fake, identify any fake profile, identify any profile that's sharing misinformation, and then to contain it. It's very easy to create a image of a person and then just share it online. I mean, it's like content creation, right? So you're creating content every day or every week, every month, and then you're sharing it online. The moment you share it online, someone can just create a copy and then keep it. And even if it gets deleted, it just spreads like wildfire. So there is always someone who's listening or who's watching, and that's how sometimes what happens is there is a news of something, there is a video or there is audio, and somehow the governments decide, okay, we have to get this video deleted from the platforms, but because someone made a copy of it, you can't actually delete it. It now spreads like wildfire through Twitter, through Facebook, through Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, etc. And that is the, I mean, it's unfortunate, but yeah, that's what happens. And it's not just like, okay, celebrities are getting impacted. You can get impacted. You can get a call from your mother. You don't know if it's your mother. You see the number, maybe there's a kidnapper, and you get a call in your mother's voice asking for money. And because you recognize her voice and you are not seeing her in person in a video call, and you don't and you trust that, okay, it's the same number from which she always calls you, you actually believe, and then you transfer some money. It's a real scam. It happens. And you are duped of your money just because a simple voice call that you could not decide whether it was real or fake.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I suppose the three most damaging usage of deepfake: one is pornography, the second is political, to spread political misinformation, and number three, in no particular order, all of them are equally bad, I suppose, is in scamming people on the internet. Because
Yes.
yeah, it's yeah easy to be an imposter. If and usually people questions video a lot less, right? I mean, from the early stage of computing, not even internet, Photoshop was there. So doctoring images has been kind of, we've all kind of, been sort of careful or cautious about, images being fake. But videos being fake, we don't think about it straight away. And it's also, you don't come across them very much. You don't think you come across them very much, but yeah, because of whichever reason, and also audio.
Yeah, video with audio. So, say
Yeah.
Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg is now saying something very controversial. It's not real. His face is there, his voice is there, but it's not a real video.
could it also be that the celebrities maliciously use it as a opposite way? Like, for example, if they
To create
if
publicity, maybe.
some sorry.
To create
Yeah,
publicity?
yeah, and also, like, say for example, some sort of confidential audio or video is leaked of them being, politically incorrect or something, and they which is actually a true scenario, but they say that, oh, it's actually deepfake
Fake,
because
yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
do
You
it.
can always deny it, saying that okay, and now it lies on the other party to prove whether the audio was real or not, or
Yeah,
whether the
yeah.
audio was doctored or not.
Yeah, I think deepfake hasn't still reached like a stage that to that level of perfection that you
I
can't
mean,
prove,
with the
because I think
images,
after a little
I
bit.
mean, with images, it has. You can easily check online. With audio, I
Mm.
think it has. I think with video, it's a bit tricky because video you have to get a lot of things right. The face has to move with the body. The voice has to match the movement of the lips, the accent, the color, everything. So it has to match. So it's very difficult on a video, but I think on an image, you can easily create a lot of fake stuff. I think it's very good. And audio, I think there has been fake audio even before the internet. You had wiretapping, phone tapping. People used to record voices, and people used to record voices over voices. So yeah, those kind of things are already there. But I think it's with video, which is the most challenging part, where it's most computer intensive. That's where it happens.
Yeah, basically, there are many ways of using and not using, or claiming that it's been used in deepfake. I think the level of perfection on videos. I mean, I haven't seen deep. I have seen some deepfake videos, but they weren't meant to be perfect. Like very
It
realistic.
was
They
like,
were created as joke, and
yes,
they didn't care about making it ultra realistic. So I don't know what the if someone made a lot of effort to make it realistic. I don't know if it's going to be easy to spot or not. But the videos that I've seen, they were kind of easy to. I mean, I could tell that this doesn't look real. I mean, the
exactly,
person, the
exactly.
celebrity that we know. Basically, it might be difficult, and also, hopefully, or some of you would already know, and some of you won't. There's an interesting theory about uncanny valley. So basically, as the technology progressed, we started building robots more and more realistic. We started building content more and more realistic. But it comes to, I mean, the more it's like humans or animals, we tend to like it more or relate to it more. But it reaches a point after which it's so realistic that it's just about very real, but not fully real yet. And that's the time when we feel very. So the more the character was
Imperfections.
becoming like a human. Yeah. So basically, in a chart, if you graph it, the more human-like it is, the more we get attached to it. But when it reaches a level where it's very human-like, but not just fully there yet, like say, for example, 90% to 98%, we feel very uncomfortable because it's not human. We could tell it's not human, but it's still very much alike human. So there is a very uncomfortable period. So basically, that uncanny valley, the deep fake, I feel now is at a stage where it's very realistic, but you still know that it's not real. So you still can identify, your brain can identify that it's not real human, and as a result you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But then again, if it's presented to you in a strategic or planned manner, that you don't really concentrate whether this video is real or not. For example, like when you're watching something really quick, a lot of things are happening in a video, part of it being fake, you wouldn't even question it because you're just invested in the story. Then you have just consumed a fake story. So yeah, there's so many aspects of looking at it, and yeah, it's interesting how it can be used.
Yeah, because I mean, if you remember the film Matrix, and they talk about that, like if you create something very perfect, humans will reject it. But if you just create s- not perfect, but just slightly imperfect, humans will accept it. And that's what I think what you are referring, that sometimes the imperfections make it more real. If you try to make something very perfect, then you know that it's fake because it can't be this
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, audience, feel free to Google uncanny valley. It's a very interesting topic
Yeah,
and it will
we'll
give
share
you
it in the
update.
description. It's a very
Yeah,
interesting concept, but I think our audience will like it. It's something
yeah,
very useful to know. So thanks for sharing, Rinath.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, with all these things, yeah, we have video, audio, voice. You're creating all these fake technologies. I mean, technologies to create fake stuff, and then you're passing them on as real. And then there are companies on the other side like Facebook, Instagram, and Google, Microsoft, and what they have to do is they have to figure out a way to identify which are the fake or the misinformation and then remove it. Because what can happen is during election, you can actually influence voter behavior just by some fake news. It could be a news, it could be an image, it could be a video, and because of that, you change the outcome of an election, and that is actually quite dangerous. Now, because that's voter influence, and you should not be doing voter influence. We should campaign, but voter influence is something else. And this is very controversial, and a lot of companies are now liable to actually remove misinformation from their platforms, and it is now their responsibility to get the misinformation or these fake things out of the platform, or ban it, remove it, etc. Because it influences a lot of people. Uh, Facebook is very powerful. I mean, about a billion users log into the platform. Imagine if something goes viral on Facebook, a billion people will read that content or view or watch. So imagine the power of it, and that's where I think companies have a huge responsibility because of the scale of their platform. They have a huge responsibility to make sure that such kind of misinformation doesn't spread. So that's why now they're bringing in more regulation, because earlier information could only travel as far as we could travel, but with internet it can travel anywhere instantaneously. It can go to space. I mean, we can send fake news to astronauts on International Space Station, and they won't
yeah.
know.
That's yeah. I think they can also like access social media anyway. So you don't even have to send it targeting them. They could just be, looking at your Facebook
Exactly,
post
and
from
say,
there.
and you can fake a radio broadcast, and if they are say traveling to Mars or a very distant planet, and every time they hear a audio from Earth, it takes a couple of minutes, then you can easily fake that. You can intercept that audio and then send something which you have faked, and you can create a
Yeah.
panic.
Yeah, could be malicious. And to be honest, and because there is a delay, I mean, obviously, there's good 8 to 12 minutes delay, right? And
Yeah, depending
before
upon
it,
where you are in the solar system. Yes.
yeah. I'm talking about Mars. I mean, just to get to Mars, there is a quite significant delay, and by that time, if say for example 150 years or hopefully 20 years from now or less, there is a civilization in Mars, there is a large group of people living in there, and you or someone sent a fake message there with DeepFake, which would probably be more advanced and more realistic by then, and then that could cause a frenzy or a panic. And
Yes.
for them to actually ascertain that it's real or fake, they have to communicate back to Earth. Say, for example, a message from the president of whichever country, and then they have to relay it back to the president or the government, and then the government have to verify it and then send back that, okay, by the way, this is fake. That would take at least an hour or two, even the
Yes.
most responsive of governments. And by that time, if it was quite a serious, message, there would be havoc started in the whole entire planet. So it could be so dangerous in future. And yeah, I wish there is more regulations very quickly come, that comes in. And um, people, or just like we have technology to create it, there could be more technology to identify. Maybe you just,
Yes.
with a click of a button, you identify whether it's actually fake or not. That's probably what's the needed technology with the current situation. Yeah.
I think what is happening is that AI, which is being used to create all these deep fake, is also now being used to identify such fake stuff and then automatically remove it. Because imagine if a human has to go through every single piece of information, image and voice and video, then it's very difficult, right?
To be honest, yeah, that's, first of all, that is difficult and still not 100% accurate. I mean,
Exactly.
is created for to sort of misinform
To
humans.
fool you.
Now, yeah, absolutely. So now this is a very interesting side of me. Obviously, I'm a big fan of technology, as a result, AI and machine learning and everything. But in some cases, I feel decision trees are more preferable, because even if AI technology are used to identify whether something is fake or not, AI is never 100%.
Yes, of course
Now,
it's
if
not, because
we,
it's trained
I,
over a model and the model is not 100% because that's created
yeah,
by human. So you
so
will have
so
inherent biases in it.
absolutely. So as a user of that AI, because usually AIs are 90 to 95% accurate, and if I'm the person using AI to identify misinformation, I would always take the result of that AI as accurate, because it's 95% of the time it is accurate. So
Yes.
if it did make a mistake on a very critical situation, I would be in a biased fashion believing that, and that could be quite harmful. So in these kind of scenarios, I feel like 100% accuracy is necessary, and that is usually ensured by a very robust algorithm, which is, algorithms are usually decision tree based. Yeah, it could be very complex and it could be very capable, but it's based on decision tree, which might make it slower or might make it possible or not. But if it is possible, then it's 100%. So in very critical scenarios like this, I feel like I would trust an AI less, and I would probably trust a well thought, well structured algorithm, decision tree based algorithm more. It sounds counterintuitive, but to prevent AI productions, I feel like probably decision trees might be better. And I would love to hear feedback from the audience. What do you guys think on this? And yeah, what's your thought on that? I don't know.
So I think yes, decision tree and algorithms. Yes, it's absolutely true. We cannot trust a technology that we have created with our own inherent flaws and inherent biases, and there has to be some kind of. So yeah, so it's very interesting to think it in that aspect because yes. Technology can be used to create this fake thing and also identify, but how much do we trust that technology? And we have to think like a skeptic, because even the technology that we create to identify such misinformation could be flawed. So you're right in highlighting that yes, we have to be very careful, take everything with a pinch of salt, and then yeah, decide whether what we have identified is the right kind of misinformation that we want to remove or not. So I think there has to be two, three layers of filtering. So, like you have two-factor authentication in when we talk about passwords, right? So you have two layers of authentication in order to prove someone's identity when they're trying to log into a system. Similarly, if we want to remove some misinformation, we can use AI to first do the hard work of identifying, okay, what it thinks is fake and not fake, and then we can then ask a human to validate that those results, and that can reduce a lot of effort for humans to like go through each and every single image, video or audio.
To be honest, yeah, that's potentially the only way we have right now. But I'm still not going to be convinced that that way would work. The reason is lottery tickets. I mean, people still buy lottery tickets even though their chance or probability of being struck by lightning is more. The reason is they don't see the millions of people who bought and didn't win. They see one that did win. and it's an inherent bias. It's if you turn it around on the other side, the person who's checking whether it's fake or not, 95% of the time it's gonna be the result that the AI predicted anyway. So when there is something, they're going to be biased to think that, oh, it's probably what the AI said as result, because AI is usually 95% of the time right. So whenever you are checking something and it's matching with the previous result 95% of the time, you would actually question yourself when that other 5% comes. So yeah, I mean, I'm not offering a solution. I don't have one. I mean, but my off the top of my head, my initial solution is to use decision tree or an algorithm. But yeah, on AI based, how can you make it more robust? I don't know. I mean, obviously, some AIs with the result also gives a confidence score. For example, it identifies handwriting, and a line of handwriting, it says that, okay, this is the actual writing and it's 97% confident that it's correct, or 75%, or however many percent. But even the confidence score is generated with the AI, and that's again inherently biased. So it's a very interesting side to think about. If you actually want to be foolproof, and have no gray area and have a black and white decision made, decision trees feels like the only way. But the thing is, when would we have such critical scenarios when we need absolute 100% certainty? Usually we are happy with 95%. I mean, obviously, if havoc is created on a planetary level like we just talked about, then yes, that's a scenario where you need that. But in regular lives, as long as you have over 90% accuracy, you can sort of get by.
You can get by it. Yeah, I think elections are so something very political, or something that can affect the aggression between two countries. So if it can start a war, if it can influence election, if it can jeopardize someone's status, so like a celebrity, I think that's where you think that, yeah, this is very critical. This technology has to identify, otherwise it can destroy someone's reputation, people's lives, etc. So those are the places where I think it's very critical. Majority of the cases, yes, you're right. It may not be that critical. It's just for a meme, just to make a fun out of people, etc. But when when it starts affecting people's lives, things start getting real, and that's where we need solutions. And that's why the companies need to step up. Decision trees, having AI, having humans. Yeah, there are various ways in which you can do. It's like, do you trust the system that's created the system? So it's something like that,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
and it's difficult. So that's why whenever you read anything on the internet, and this I can now say for certain, because see, we have been talking about technology for over 2 years, right? And we read a lot, so that's why we are able to come up with all these new topics. And when we read, we have to identify whether the sources that we are reading are real, or are they actually spreading some kind of misinformation. So we have to validate some of the sources with multiple uh, with I mean with multiple reads, etc. And we know now to a certain degree which sources to trust and which sources not to trust. And similarly, whenever you're going online, you need to be very careful about what sources you trust and what sources you don't trust. I mean, I'm not talking about people. I mean, you can trust someone. I can trust Rinat, but I don't trust what Rinat is sharing. So there is a difference between that. So if you know what Rinat is sharing comes from a reliable source, say like BBC, then you can be certain that Rinat I trust, and the things that he shares from BBC I can trust. So I can safely say that whatever information he's sharing is real, and I don't have to do my own research in fact checking. So that's what, whenever we try to share information, we try to do the fact checks, and we try to post the original source of that information if we can. So I mean, we talked about deep fake, we talked about the harmful effects, we talked about the positive effects, but in the end, why are we talking about it? The reason we are talking about it is to create awareness, as we always want to do with our podcast and the show. But the other thing is to uh, make you aware that, okay, yes, something like this exists. It can impact lives, it can cause harm, it can dupe you of your money. So please be careful, please be aware, please be alert, do your homework, and don't just share things randomly. Try to validate the source. That is very important.
Absolutely, yeah, very much so. I mean, you might be thinking that, yeah, deepfake is a technology. Yeah, I'm aware of it. So now, as a consumer of content, I would be more careful. But uh, do be do be mindful of the fact that not only as a consumer, of course, yeah, definitely be careful as a consumer of content whenever you read or even share. So when you're sharing something, then you're not just consumer; you are the spreader of
Yes,
information, which could be misinformation. Now, so you do a few things, right? You consume content, you then share or not. If you share, then that's another type of spreading or activity in this arena. And then also, what could also happen to you, that this could happen to you rather. So someone else could do a deep fake of yourself without your knowledge or consent and use it for malicious purposes. So for that, of course, yeah, be mindful of where you upload your content and careful of what you say. But again, how much can you do? Like, we are uploading our contents, video and audio, and our voices can be copied and taken and be made to say something completely different. So it's I suppose at this point it's important to be vigilant about your online presence, so where and when you shared your content, and if there is something outside of that, then that is very likely fake. So yeah, I mean, it's about being vigilant of the content you consume, but also the content you share, and also the content you put out, having a knowledge or keeping a track of that, so you can easily identify if you're the victim. So all of these different ways.
absolutely, absolutely. I think because everything is now stored online and it just makes our life so convenient that we sometimes forget what can be done using that kind of information. Say your cloud account gets hacked and all your photographs are now in public, and you have shared some private pictures and those are on the cloud, and now it's public. Imagine a hacker gets, I mean, hold of that photograph, and your reputation is ruined. And they spread such kind of information. Now, now think like this: fake information, fake profiles, fake stories. They've always been there. So why are we talking about deep fake? Because now AI has come into picture, and it's more convincing for me, or if I see a video, or I see an image, or I listen to something, rather than just a fake profile or fake news or fake story. It is more convincing and more powerful if I watch someone talk about something, even though it's fake, but I can easily get influenced by it simply because created using artificial intelligence. And that's what we have to be aware of, that a technology like this can be used for malicious purposes, and we just have to be careful about it. I mean, think like this. I mean, currently we have so many biometric technologies, right? Voice recognition, face recognition, etc. And we want to open our laptops, and we have fingerprint scanners, we have voice, we have facial recognition. What if we can somehow, sometime in the future, use this technology to actually unlock a device just by downloading a piece of your audio and running an AI algorithm, creating a voice spectrum, asking you to utter few words, and then relaying it out loud, and your laptop gets unlocked. Imagine. And that's the scary part.
Absolutely, yeah, very much so. So, yeah, I mean, we'd like to, I suppose, leave you with this thought of, as we usually do, to be aware of this technology exists. And also, we want to encourage you to find out the positive use of it. And if you find a positive use that hasn't been commercially implemented yet, then why not go for it? Because the technology exists. If the use doesn't exist, that's a massive gap in the market, and you could potentially have a really good business idea out of it. So yeah, I encourage people to, again, be aware of all the technologies that exist. That's why we talk about these things. and hopefully something good will come out of it, and hopefully it will sort of make you cautious enough that something hopefully bad will be avoided. So yeah, that's sort of my final thought, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed the topic we talked about. I very much enjoyed talking about it. A lot of new sort of thought
Yes.
experiments, and yeah, it was quite interesting to explore this topic with you, Amit.
Yes,
Uh,
same.
so yeah,
I think this technology is quite new. I read about it and I thought, okay, it's a very interesting topic to talk about because it's quite relevant today. There are a lot of people getting impacted. We sometimes do share misinformation just because we are not very careful. And I think as a tech podcast, it's our job to share such kind of information for our listeners and viewers so that they are more aware. And thank you so much again, Renat, for that absolutely wonderful conversation about another interesting topic in technology. And I hope our viewers and listeners have learned something new. And see you next time. Thank you so much again
yeah,
for tuning in.
absolutely. Reach out to us again. Our contact details should be in the description, and let us know your feedback or ideas, or if you'd like to join us as a guest. Hope to see you guys again next week. With that, thank you very much.